Good evening. How you doing? It's Louisa Tanner Munson coming live from Portugal. We're in the same time zone as London. Where are you listening from? That's my big question. Now, it's the end of the weekend for me, and it might just be still the weekend for you, or it might be Monday morning already. What's going on for you right now? Like, where is your consciousness at? There are so many changes now, right? Like, we have had such an interactive time since the last time I went live. We've had 2 sets of visitors, and the really strange thing that I notice is that just how we have these synchronicities show up. So for instance, and I've got Maria João Silva. Hey, how you doing? It's been a while. How are you? So we've got Maria showing up from somewhere in Portugal. She may be on a holiday, so I don't know where she is exactly. I've got other people showing up as well. But like in this last week, we have had people from the past show up, and I always think that's interesting, and I always think it's a moment to take notice of what's going on. And funnily enough, our friends that are staying with us at the moment, the last time they were here, we had some other friends with us, and they were here with us at the same time. So we had 2 sets of the same friends staying with us, and we've all got different birthdays and celebration days and things like that. But there is a date in common to all of us, and that's the 7th of July. And it's like, wow, where do all these patterns come from? So that's my question to you. Like, where are the patterns showing up right now for you? And what do you think they might mean? So we have spent the weekend drinking a lot, I have to say, and partying and going in the sea and just enjoying life. And tonight we are going to be looking, like Carl's going to join me. At the moment, he's in the bath, and I've set the alarms on our phones, and our kids are going to wake him up should he fall asleep so he can participate at the end. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually look at somebody's birthday, their birth chart, and give an interpretation. It's Maya, who comes from Berlin in Germany. So I'm going to have a look at her chart for the first time. And then I'm going to talk a little bit around the astrology of falling in love. So I've been doing a series since Venus went retrograde, and she's retrograde for 40 days and 40 nights. And I'm doing 40 recordings all about the different ways and approaches we can use in astrology to find our perfect partner and to engage in them at the right time, or how astrology and our birth charts show love and this, that, and the other. And so tonight I'm looking at the relationship charts of 2 people. And they're people that are staying with us at the moment. They're people who've got the powerful 7/7 number somewhere in their life. And we're going to be looking at his chart and her chart according to what was going on when they met. Then their combined chart, known as a composite chart, which represents the relationship, how their 2 charts merged together and what that means. And then also what was happening in each of their birth charts on the day of their marriage. So I think it's going to give you a real good idea. And if you like it, then it's worth checking out my Venus playlist, because in the last 2 days, I've added 2 new tracks, one of them of another couple who I followed, and they've been together 30 years. And then the other couple is me and Carl, that's Mr. M, Mr. Munson, and how we got together and how it showed up in our charts. Like, the coding of love really does show up. And if you watch all 3 of them, you'll realize that there really is a strong pattern. So yeah, let us know. Maria is sending me all sorts of different messages, which is really, really lovely. So we've got a very big Portuguese hola, and then something in Portuguese I'm not gonna. Estou muito bem. So great to see you. And she's saying, wow, and that's powerful with the 7/7. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how these stories repeat and these patterns repeat. So like I say, what is going on for you right now? My feeling, if I'm going to be sort of upfront and honest, as a bit of an empath and a bit of a psychic or whatever, a bit of a witch, some people may have referred to me as, my sense is that right now, whatever is needing to happen is happening, and it seems to be happening at a faster rate to me, it feels like there is something going on right now that is transforming humanity. Is that the same for you? Is that how you're feeling? Are you getting a sense of that? What do you think is going on in the world? That's my big question. I was asking it with my friends today. What do you think's happening? Is there an ascension process? What are we doing? Are we developing? Are we just evolving? Because that's what humans do. So much to explore. Anyway, let's bring on. And Maria is saying, oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, let's bring on the first chart. And like I said, this is the chart for Maya from Berlin. And she wants to know a little bit more about her astrology. So I'm just going to make it as big as I can get it. I was hoping I'd get it a bit bigger than that. Okay, I think that's as big as I can get it. So anyway, Maya is born. This is possibly one of the younger ends of astrology that I look at. Most people that come to me at the moment, like for readings and membership, they're in their, say, 40 plus. And I'm guessing that's because, I'm in my 40s, and I've got clients up to, I think my oldest client is 82. So yeah, I'm sort of covering sort of like midlife to sort of, as we get older and how we might transcend ourselves. So it's nice and refreshing to get a chart of somebody born in 1998, very much early on in their life. And yet we can always have these questions, can't we, about what's going on? So as I'm looking at Maya's chart, she's born on the 22nd of May, 1998 in Berlin, Germany at 2020. Do you know what? I think I've made a mistake there. Oh, no, 22:20, which is 10:20 p.m. and in universal time 2020. Okay, that's why it's showing up. So she's born with her ascendant in the sign of Sagittarius, and that's ruled by the planet Jupiter. So Jupiter's her ruler. That's a really important planet here. So I'm just going to unpick her chart a little bit and get a feel for what's going on. Now, if you've watched this show before, you'll know that there are sort of patterns that the planets make, and it's always quite interesting to have a good look. And what I noticed instantly is that she's got a lot going on down here in the fourth house. So she's got the moon, and the moon is in an exact conjunction with this angle here, which is really, really important in the chart. Very much about the home, very much about the mum. Very much about the behaviors that come from childhood and how she can make her own way in the world. She's also got Venus in a tight conjunction there as well. And then later she's got Saturn. And then she's got Ceres and Mercury as well. So this is a lot to unpack, and I will give it a fair good look at it. What I noticed that's really important, and it might be what's prompted her to ask me for a read, is her Chiron, Chiron, where it's transiting, i.e., let me just backtrack a little bit. All these symbols here in black represent where the planets and asteroids were that I've selected and put in here. It's representing where everything was at the time, place, and date of her birth. And if you were to look up at the sky, and if you could actually, with your eye, see where Pluto was, it was in that direction, and the sun was over there, and Venus and the moon were over there, and the North Node is over here. So you kind of are building a picture, and this is her in the middle looking up at the sky to see where everything was. So that's a static picture. It's a snapshot of potential at her time, place, and date of birth. And then all of this green stuff around the outside, all these symbols, are showing the real-time positions of all these planets, because they keep on moving. Just because you get born doesn't mean to say they will stop. There is a continuous transit. There is a continuous development in life. And so right now, her Chiron is in one of the most sensitive places of all. The IC at the bottom, you'll see there are 4 clear angles, and I like to think of them as our north, south, east, and west. They're like our ordinance. It's like our compass, our moral compass. And the ascendant here and everything on this side is really representing everything that is you, or Maya. in terms of this chart, and everything on this side is everyone else other than Maya. And then here at the IC, this is like Maya at her most private and homebound, and her earliest kind of memories and security and stuff. And then up here at the top is Maya in terms of her public persona and in terms of stepping out into the world, in terms of making her mark. So it's interesting that right now she's got Chiron, that's known as the wounded healer, moving right over this very sensitive place. So I think this is a time of quite possibly some anxiety about her future. I say that a bit lightly, actually, because I know what it's like to have Chiron go over one of our angles. It's troubling. It brings up emotions. It brings up stuff from our past. It usually brings up stuff from our childhood, hurts that we haven't really quite got a grip on. What I like about this, I have to say, is that it's happening right now. So Maya, she's born when's she born? 1998, and we're in 2023. So she is 25, if I've calculated that correctly. Hopefully I have. So she's 25, and she's got Chiron going over this, which is very, very sensitive. I think 25 is a good age to be able to review what your childhood was like and what your pain and, like that unhealable wound that we've all got at some level. She's getting to deal with hers at 25, which might sound a bit young, but can you imagine how great it would be to get rid of that and to understand it and to be able to make sense of her, her original wound and be able to close on it or mature on it or integrate it somehow. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, when I think about like, when did my life come together and how did I start to put things in a sort of cohesive way, I would say that didn't really happen for me until I was about 36. And then you're playing catch up a little bit. So I think that's kind of a gift, actually, Maya. I don't know if you're listening in live now, because I know you're in Germany, so it's probably 11:30 at night. You're probably in bed. But, what's going on for you right now is actually a bit of a gift, even though it probably doesn't feel like it, because Chiron brings up what is the most rawest experience for us. And, the moon represents the mum at some level. And it also represents our psyche, our intuition, what we're sensing about the world, not what we're being rational about. It's like, what are we sensing? And so at some level, you're sensing pain, you're sensing and remembering, the pain of the past. And it's very, very real. And anyone that's trying to talk you out of it and saying, oh, Maya, shut up, don't go down that route or whatever, they're kind of gaslighting you. They're deregulating, and they might not be doing it out of malice. I'm sure they're not. They're probably doing it because it seems like the right thing to do. But it's really important that you trust your intuition right now, because it's vital that you trust your intuition, because if you don't trust your intuition, you'll not be able to get to the core of what's going on for you. It feels like something from your childhood to do with how you were raised, to do with how vulnerable you could be, how vulnerable you could allow yourself to be, is now up for discussion or is up for rethinking. So it's a very, very sensitive time. And you've also got Venus here. It looks like Venus is here, but that's where Saturn is. But Venus is actually here. The moon is right here where Chiron is. So, Venus is here in this very, very sensitive place. And Venus at some level represents the love flows, what we're going through, how we connect to others. And, with Venus and the moon together very close to the IC, I mean, this is somebody that can connect to pretty much anyone. You've learned from an early age to really connect and really feel people and really know how to get a rapport and stuff. And yet there's some pain about it. Now, if you're lucky, you've already work through some of this pain. And actually what's coming out now is you're being connected to the guru side of your development. I always think anything that we resist comes back to us again and again and again. But if we look at what might be bothering us and we get the chance to get great at it, we get the chance to learn through it, to move through it, then we start attracting gurus and coaches and mentors and somebody who's maybe a step above. And by saying above, instantly I want to say we get a guide by the side. There's no reason to assume that somebody's higher or lower than you, but there's the opportunity to commune with somebody who has maybe slightly more relevant experience that can guide you through this. So what I want you to know right now is whatever's going on, you're not alone. And if you can, like, the more vulnerable you are, because I think with Chiron, one of the most important things is to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to not hide under shame or guilt that we can't cope. But to actually say, actually, look, I'm a real human and actually I feel pain about this. And the reason I feel pain about this is because, and I really would like your help. And, then you give somebody the chance to either work with you or to refuse working with you. And that's why so few of us actually do that. Most of us are so frightened of being rejected. And what, and we have these meanings that we make the rejection mean. And it feels too high risk. But actually right now, Maya, as you ask for help and as you make yourself vulnerable, you're not making yourself powerless. That's the thing I want you to know. You're actually making yourself so much more powerful. And the more you can ask for help and the more you can reveal your hand in good faith and with a sense of optimism, I think there's going to be some really good mentors around that are going to kind of almost come into your life like angels. They're just going to either pop in or fly in. They're going to come in with a lovely glowing halos and they're going to be there at your service. They're going to be there to help you. It's a really good time to be open and transparent, because as you do that, you'll learn new ways of being resourceful. You'll learn new ways of making it on your own, which is actually what every person that feels vulnerable wants to do. And I can see, like, your moon is in the sign of Aries. That's pretty independent. Your ascendant's in the sign of Sagittarius. That makes you super independent. And then your sun is at 1 degree in the sign of Gemini. That makes you really independent. Moreover, like, your sun is in a conjunction with Mars. That makes you, again, really independent and really determined. And, my comment about that, from one independent person to another is sometimes we miss a lot of quality. We miss a lot of support by being independent and wanting to do everything on our own. And the more you can open up right now and show your card, show your weaknesses, because actually your weaknesses, the whole idea of having weaknesses and strengths it's all just like material for something. It's not really true. None of it's really true. But the openness that you show is a real strength. And the more open you can be, the more people can step in and support you and stand by your side and actually help lift you up. Because ultimately, with the sun in Gemini, you really do want to progress. You really do want to experience life. You really do want to do things that are different and interesting and wonderful and crazy. And you want to meet people, you want to think things, you want to read things, learn things, all these kinds of things. So much like richness for you. And with your ascendant in the sign of Sagittarius, I mean, you want to expand. You don't want to be stuck in one spot doing the same thing 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Why would you want to do that? You don't. You want to do something new. And yeah, I'm here to let you know that the more you trust other people, the more likely it is that the most appropriate form of freedom and expansion will arrive on your doorstep. When you try and do it on your own, you'll probably get there anyway, but you'll be doing it on your own. You won't be having the comfort of someone else's guidance. You won't be having the comfort and the support of somebody who's done it and is wanting to help you learn yourself. So be open, be as open as possible. And this will pass, this rawness. And, I don't know what this rawness is about, but whatever it is that you're feeling raw and shocked about, it will move on. And the easiest way for you to process it right now is to let somebody else in and ask for help. Now, there's a couple more things I just want to comment on. Because they're quite significant. The first one is Pluto's position to Neptune. And this is something everyone your age is going through right now. Pluto is all about where we're trying to control things. Maybe because we're getting old enough to realize that we don't actually have much control. And that's a hard thing to learn. But Neptune here shows that everything is possible and that there are no boundaries, and Neptune shows where we can be creative. It also shows where we can be magnificently loving, but it also shows where we can be complete shits and lie, and where we can deliberately use subterfuge and confuse people. So I think Neptune really shows us where we can become really addicted to things, and also where we can really want to believe that something is true and kid ourselves. And so Pluto coming into this, I think, is an awakening energy, which is really strong. And given how active and independent your ascendant, moon, and sun are, and Mars, I would say, this awakening period is actually in your benefit. It's there to open you up to realize that nobody has any control over anything apart from we have control over our feelings. And if we can master our feelings, we can do so much more than if we're trying to master everything and not being able to achieve any of it. Because when we try to impose ourselves on situations, we're going to fail. But when we can use discernment and mastery in the way we're thinking, and we can affect our feeling, because we're being mindful, then you've got a chance to change things, and then you've got a chance to bring in this lovely, magnificent, unconditional love, unconditional creativity, and stuff like that. So this is a big thing. You're not doing this on your own. Everyone your age is doing this right now. And the big key is to realize what you can control and what you can't. I think a lot of people in your generation are thinking, and to be fair, they've been told that if they come together and they complain, and if they stand strong together, they're going to make a change in the world. And that's not really true necessarily. In many respects, it's a load of bullshit that's been told to them to distract them so that they feel they're powerful, even when they might not be in their true power. To be in your true power, Maya, is to accept that you can't control anyone else, but all of the control is in you to, work out how you feel, and to decide, like, if something awful is happening, the best thing that you can do is know that it's in your control and your power to recognize something is awful, then consider how you feel about it, and then think, okay, I've got a choice. Where do I want to put my feeling here? And I know that sounds rational, and a little bit too measured and considered, but we do have power over only our stuff. There's not much we can do about where our stuff meets the stuff of other people. There's really little control any of us have. And so I see this as a big thing that's coming up in your generation, and it will affect you. So the more you can just trust yourself and be open and recognize that you always have the choice in how you feel, even if it feels like things are done to you, even if it feels like you're a victim of things, you always have the choice, and that's going to really help you. You've got Saturn coming into a conjunction with your South Node, reminding you of old responsibilities that you've always had. Now, if you're perceiving, if you can perceive old lives and past lives and stuff, it might be this remembrance of something. But effectively, what this is doing is reminding you of the strengths that you're born with. So maybe, and this is where I'm going to leave this reading, I think. Think about the things that your parents said about you as a child, and the things that they told you off for, or said, oh, she's rubbish because of this. What I want to share with you is this concept that I learned from Access Consciousness, and that is what's wrong with hang on, let me get this right. It's kind of like the the wrongness of you is the rightness of you. And so I may not have said that right, but think of all the things you were always like people had against you. Like for me, like growing up in the late 70s, early 80s in England, I had a limp, I had glasses, I had red hair, crooked teeth, and I was bright at school and very, very creative. And you know, it's not the recipe for being like the most loved person. But oh, and I asked lots of questions, and I had like psychic awareness, and there was always this feeling that my psychic awareness and my openness was a problem for everybody else. And it was like, that was the problem. That's the thing that's wrong with you. You think too much, you're too sensitive. So think about all those things that were said about you and consider them now from the perspective that all that was wrong with you is actually where you're special, where you're unique, and where you're right. And if you can hold on to those things and look at them with a new sense of possibility and a new sense of self-love, add that into the new sense of, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable, and the new sense of, I can't control other people's behavior or demand other people's certain behaviors. All I can control is how I am. And if you can get those three principles right in your life, you are setting yourself up to succeed and enjoy and be free. And I can see when I look at your chart, what you crave the most is freedom of expression and the freedom to live the life that you want to create. And I think you will get there. I'm really sure of it. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. I really do. And I'd love to hear more from you. And if I do, that's great. And if I don't, that's also great, because I know there's always, anyone that listens in, I think is, they get something from this as well. These readings aren't, they're created, they're co-created for the purpose. I'm getting a few likes coming in. That's lovely. Thank you so much. I really think that whatever comes out in these readings is for everyone. It's not just about the person whose reading I'm doing. So there you go. Now it is it's almost 2 minutes to 10, and in a short while, in about 15 minutes, I'm hoping Mr. M is going to join me. I'm hoping my son has gone to wake him up, because I did set the alarm. Carl, if you're there, hello. This is your wake up call. Get out of that hot bath. Come and join me. Actually, he has just sent me a message to say hola, boa noite. So that's good. I've got a comment coming in from Maria. We're experiencing a powerful moment of fast reunion of souls, and July has been a very powerful month of acceleration. Yeah. Just a question, if I might ask, what's the compatibility of Taurus and Cancer? Do you know what? That is absolutely a great question. I think there's a really lovely compatibility. I will absolutely 100% say that I don't think compatibility does just boil down to one person versus another, or one star sign versus another. Like, I'm a Sagittarius and Carla's a Cancer. If you look at any astrology book, they'll say, oh my goodness, fire and water. No, 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 no. You two cannot be. You should be with a fire sign. You should be with a water sign. I don't believe that. But I do think Cancerian, like the Cancerian energy and the Taurus energy, there is a lovely compatibility. There is a lovely sort of friendliness about it. Where the Cancerian energy gets too emotional, the Taurus energy is really gentle and supportive and saying, come on, let's just get a cup of tea. Let's get a slice of cake. Let's sit down next to each other. Let's ground. Let's just chill. And they can allow things not to get too 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 dramatic. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. There's a really nice empathic quality between the two of them. But I would also say, if you're thinking of two specific people, if it's you and somebody else, then I always recommend that we look at charts directly. I've got a comment coming in from Joe Summers. Hi, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Definitely. I love your wrongness is your rightness. It's not mine. I'll be honest. It's come from Access Consciousness. And I highly recommend that if that resonates with you, that you check out Dr. Dane here on YouTube, or Gary Douglas, or even go to Access Consciousness, because they're the guys that I learned that from. And yeah, you know what? I really recognize that where I felt wrong or have felt like I've been made wrong, it's usually because someone's trying to squash you back into your box and let you know that it's only safe to exist in this little realm where everyone else can cope with you. But actually, what this world needs is big thinking, big hearts, big love, big levels of compassion. And I think that really comes about when you're really being yourself, when you're being your possibility. You can really feel it completely. So I hope that helps. God, getting a few different people here today. That's great. Obrigada, querida, which is thank you, my darling. Times 3, or is that a heart? I think it's a heart. So thank you so much, Maria. Audrey saying hello. Audrey, where are you calling from? It's nice that you're joining us. And Joe, absolutely. Thank you. You're so welcome. Joe, where do I know you from? Let me know. I'd love to, I'd love to know. It's interesting when I see different people on this live chat. I'm always like really curious. So anyway, let's have a look at the Venus piece now while Carl is getting dressed, hopefully. So I'm going to bring up the next one of my Venus learning sessions. So if you've been following my Venus playlist, you'll know that I've been talking about love from all these different perspectives. Venus went retrograde on the 23rd of July. She's there for 40 days and 40 nights. Oh, yes, I know you. Hello. You've changed your hair as well. Your hair, I remember you being like brunette. It looks beautiful and blonde now. It's nice to see you. I will remember that. And Audrey, west coast of Scotland. I bet that's lovely right now. I was doing a reading for somebody in Scotland today. She was saying it's quite grey at the moment in the skies, but that it's been a nice summer anyway. So anyway, I've been that's a new you. That's good. I'm really, really, I love the fact that we can all reinvent ourselves. And I think that's a really great thing. So anyway, I've been looking at Venus and looking at new ways of us understanding our coding in our charts, and understanding a little bit more about love. And if you look at my Venus playlist, you'll see, I think so far there's about 13, maybe 15 lessons covering things from whether your Venus is strong, which sign it's in, what kind of aspects it has to different planets and things like that. I also did a couple of shows about the sexual planets, which I've listed as being Venus, Mars, Neptune, Pluto, and Juno, which is an asteroid, but I count her in. Now, in the last 2 lessons, I looked at the energies of different relationships, and now we're going to have a look at this beautiful couple. I've got a Nubinet coming and saying Bonoit. What time is it where you are, Nubinet? Are you in California? San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. I may have got that right. I've also got Queen and Convict. You're new as well to me. It's lovely to have you here. Bonoit. I love that. So yeah, today we're looking at this lovely couple's chart. So let me just bring up their details. And so what we're going to do is have a look at where they were in life when they met each other. And I'll show you how the astrology is showing the importance of them meeting and so on and so forth. So when he met her, and this is, I made a mistake. They've been together 8 years. And I said they're married 6. They're actually married 7 years today. So I wasn't using very good maths earlier, but all of these charts are valid. So when he met her, and bearing in mind that I've spoken a lot about people's charts and how love shows up, the first thing that I notice is the moon on the day that he met her was in a conjunction with his Chiron. Now, Chiron reminds us of our vulnerabilities, and it also reminds us of what we're sensitive about. It's a very, very potent point in our chart. So having the moon, which is all about our energies and our emotions and our psyche, that's a really good start. Then we've got Venus in a conjunction to the vertex in his chart, an exact one. Now, for those of you that don't know, the vertex is almost like the word of God or the word of the universe. And so in his own chart, he's got Venus is the thing that the universe wants him to work on. So everything to do with love and connection and partnership and family and abundance and just feeling like you're having a good life. And so when he was meeting his future wife, Venus was right there, right over his Venus and the kind of the word of the universe. So he's actually having a Venus return, like Venus is always moving. And at the time he met his wife, Venus was right back where it started. He's also got Mars. Where's Mars? In a conjunction with Venus, the vertex, and the sun. So the Mars is conjunct these two and also the sun. Now, Mars and Venus are counted as sexual planets, like boy meets girl. We've got like the yielding, and we've got the thrusting, and we've got the attraction. So that's all good. Then Jupiter, which is also about our expansion, the expansion of our feelings. Jupiter is also a feeling of, it's also a planet to do with well-being. That's in a conjunction with his sun. So that's all good. Then the North Node, which is about our karmic journey. So the North Node, where is it? Just here is right on his Mercury. So that's also very, very strong because it's indicating almost like there's this new journey of conversation. There's this new way of talking. There's this new kind of intellectual connection. And yeah, he definitely has an intellectual connection with his wife. And then on the day that they met, Saturn, which is all, and if you look at the last 3 episodes, Saturn is, I think, the one that brings the commitment. You know, if you think of Saturn, it's a planet with rings, with constructs, with stability. It's a thing that creates regulations, rules, expectations, guidelines, and things. And so Saturn, in the last 2 sets of couples, and one of those was me and my husband, Saturn has shown up. So on the day that he met his wife, Saturn was just moving over this very potent part in his chart. And it's interesting actually because this connection between Jupiter and Uranus is coming up again, and it comes around every 12 years or so. And it's coming around next. It's already right now Jupiter and okay, you need to speak to Daddy. That's a great thing about delivering at home, because you get 4-year-olds popping in and saying, "I've just done a poo in the potty. Can you come and wipe my bum?" Oh dear, family life, eh? So yeah, so Saturn was in this very sensitive part over a really expansive point in his chart, to do with him standing tall in the world and feeling exalted, feeling positive, feeling like great change could come. So this is really big. Now, no, I'm not wiping your bum, darling. Go to Daddy. So when she met him, there was also some big things going on. So, for instance, Venus, the planet of love and flow and connection, was in a conjunction with Mars, his Mars. So it's like boy meets girl. So that's really strong and sexual. Mars was also conjunct Mars. So he was going through his Venus return and she was going through her Mars return, which is interesting. And then what I really like about this, and what's really, really obvious, is that the Sun, Mercury, you can't see it because something's just gone over it, Juno, and the North Node were in a conjunction with her Pluto. Now, in the last 2 episodes, looking at different couples, Venus and Pluto were often in a connection. Juno is she's known as the goddess of marriage, and she's also known as Hera, according to whether you're Roman or Greek, but essentially she's the same goddess. So these connections between Juno and another planet are really, really strong. So this is a really, really kind of strong indication of a connection between the two. Now, another way of looking at their connection, so that's looking at when they both met each other and how life was showing up in their charts at the time. This is known as a composite chart, and the composite chart is a composition of her plus him, and it's looking at the melting pot between the two of them. If they were white chocolate and black chocolate and you're melting them up, you get this lovely chocolate between them. It's the melting pot between the two of them. So this here, this Venus is representing it's representing the moon of her and the moon of him, and it's the midpoint. And so every point here, including the angles, is the midpoint between each of them. And the composite chart essentially represents the relationship, how it's showing up. And it's really, really strong, when you look at the composite chart. Every composite chart I've looked at really describes the relationship and how it shows up. And this is really gorgeous. I love it. So the ascendant's in the sign of Taurus, that's ruled by Venus. Then Venus is in a conjunction with the sun. So it's like love plus personality and love plus ego. It's like the loving ego of their relationship. And it's in a conjunction with this part here, the IC, which is known as the part of the home. So it's like, what is known about this relationship is that home is where the heart is. It's like home sweet home. Really beautiful. And then they've got Ceres conjunct the ascendant. So Ceres is here. Ceres is the dwarf planet to do with motherhood and protection and parenting and nurturing. It's a real sort of like home bringer, and it's also bringing in more life and more flow. And so it's not surprising, because these two have had a child together and they've raised children together. So the relationship is about parenting the next generation and being nurturing, a place of love. So that really shows up. They've also got Chiron in the first house. Chiron's a wounded healer. The first house is about the identity of the relationship. At some level, anyone that knows them as a couple will know that they've suffered a fair bit in terms of ups and downs and difficulties, not between themselves necessarily, but with the people around them. It's brought in some pain. Now, it's not to say that they're victims, nothing of the sort, but it's to say that pain has come up, and actually, the more the pain has come up, it's brought them both out as highly experienced, highly resourceful individuals within a relationship. So as you're looking at this relationship chart, what I see is that these are people creating a home structure to nurture people and to love people, really bring love in. Even during the most painful times, they still stand for love, and they still stand for hope, and they still stand for support. So I think that's really strong. Then I really love this Mercury, Mars, trine Neptune. Where's that? Mercury and Mars, trine Neptune, and also trine Pluto. So this is really quite hopeful and also quite dynamic. Like Mercury and Mars together is, I think that they're able, like within the relationship, they're known as being able to stand up for themselves, to be able to articulate when things are going wrong, and to be able to put a finger on it, to be able to identify it. But they do it with compassion, and they're also doing it with a sense of possibility and transformation. So these guys aren't going to roll over when life like knocks them down. They're going to transform it and find a way to have really intelligent, grown-up conversations about it. So I love that. They've got Saturn sextile Uranus, which is really useful. Like Uranus is about setting up goals and creating structure, and Uranus is very much about being free. So they're creating structures that are going to give them freedom and give them expression. And then this is really, really lovely. The moon is in a conjunction to the midheaven. So the vehicle of this relationship is there to allow their psyche to come out and to allow their dreams to manifest. And the descendant has the vertex there. At some level, the relationship is about the relationship coming out. The relationship isn't about helping others. It's not about this, that, and the other. It's about the relationship. It's everything is about making their relationship stronger. It's really good. So as their charts relate to each other, this is her chart, this is his chart, and in terms of astrology, you usually find that there are important planets over each other's planets or angles. So here are the things that really stick out for me, showing that they've got a strong union. And all unions, as strong as they are, they still have little upsets and ups and downs and things, but what they have here is a lot of resourcefulness. And this is where I went first. Love this. So we've got Venus, the vertex, and Mars in a conjunction, which is really, really lovely. So where's that? Venus and the vertex and Mars in a conjunction. That's showing his desire to express love, meeting her desire to connect in a sexual way. So it's really thrusty. It's like they've got this thrusty, lusty kind of desire for each other, which is really strong. Then they've got Venus, Ceres, and the Sun in a conjunction to the descendant. So her Sun and her Venus, her desire to love people and care for people, is in a conjunction with his part of relationships. Really, that's a real common sign where you see people come together, that somebody's Venus or Sun is on their descendant. It really shows they're their type. Then we've also got Ceres. So we've got Ceres conjunct this DC descendant, and then her descendant is conjunct his Ceres. So this is the same theme coming up in each chart. Really, really strong. Chiron in a conjunction with Juno. You heard what I said about Juno. Juno is showing marriage, and Chiron the care that you take to look after each other. Pluto, Saturn conjunction the IC. That's strong. So there's his Pluto and Saturn conjunct her part of the home. The home, he is bringing transformation and structure to her daily life. And you would expect that with partners, wouldn't you? That you bring change to each other. And then finally, the thing that I really like is they've both got their moons in opposition. Now, oppositions, can be challenging. And they can be difficult, but between the moons, or between Venus and the moon and Jupiter, like they're considered workable. They're not that difficult. Last couple of things I want to show then is just what happens on their wedding day, and then we'll bring in Mr. M, who's limbering up after a warm bath. So when he was marrying her, he was going through his Venus return. So Venus had come back. Juno was conjunct his Saturn and Pluto. So again, there's Juno and Saturn. If you look at the last two episodes, there was something like that going on. Ceres was conjunct his Juno, showing that they are connecting in care. They are committing to a marriage to care for each other. Pluto on his ascendant is a big one. Like, that's a huge identity shift. Then Mars was conjunct his Jupiter and Uranus. Where's that? Yep. That's another big shift. And Saturn, again, this control aspect. Saturn is there to, where is it? Saturn is conjunct to her Uranus. Sorry, Saturn is conjunct his Uranus, showing that like life is coming in to control his wayward nature, to control his freedom, or to work together with it. And then Mercury conjunct Sun and Sun conjunct Mars, less important, but still showing a change. And then finally, on her wedding day, obviously they got married on the same day. This is really lovely. The Sun's crossing her ascendant, showing the start of a new identity. Her Venus is in a conjunction with Mars, as boy meets girl. The North Node, Moon, and Jupiter is conjunct her Juno. So her Juno is here. And the energy of the moon and Jupiter, first of all, in their marriage chart is very strong and optimistic. And the North Node is there. It's connecting with everything to do with marriage in her chart. And then Juno is also conjunct her Uranus and North Node, showing that marriage is coming in to tame her wilder sides and her need to achieve certain things in life. Then she's also got a Saturn conjunction, showing that she's ready to give up something and also commit to romance. And then last of all, she's got Uranus and Ceres either side of her midheaven, showing that even though she's making these commitments, there is this promise of freedom and nurturing in her future. So I think that's really quite sweet, how they both come together to express their love in that way. So I love that so much, and I just want to wish them a happy anniversary. So it's their 7th anniversary today. So last of all, then let's bring on Mr. M. Where are you? I need to.
You sit down in the bottom hole.
Where is that? Hang on.
Beneath yours.
Okay. One sec. It's actually there.
Boom.
So let's see if we can hear him.
Yeah.
We can hear
Check.
him.
1.
So let's bring him on. So Mr. M is coming in. Here
There we
he
go.
is, fresh out of a bath.
Can't hear it, but don't know why that is.
I can hear you.
Can you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just carry on. I'm a pro. I can't hear it. Is that the one I just gave you? When I said the bottom hole, I meant that one there.
Oh, okay.
That's better. I can hear it now. That made no difference to anybody else.
No, but it's made a difference to you, and that's what counts. So we're going to have a look at, just before we go into the next bit, and look at the what song is it? Chris Christopherson.
Jesus was a Capricorn.
Have you listened to it
Yeah,
yet?
I have, yeah.
What did you think?
Well, it's country gospel, isn't it? And it's somewhat. Jimmy, get in your box. Daddy will take you for a walk in a little while. Go on, in your box. Sorry about that, everybody.
It's all right.
But we can't have him whimpering through. Jimmy, get in your box. Go on.
You know what?
He's
whimpered for a few things.
Has he?
Yeah.
Typical Sagittarian. No, what
He's a Pisces. Pisces dog.
See, I think Jesus is probably Pisces. But anyway, I don't want to steal your thunder on that.
No, it's cool. So anyway, NewbieNet is actually saying it's now 2:23 across the bay from San Francisco in Oakland. So like it feels really late for us.
Oh,
but
yeah.
for NewbieNet in California.
Sorry, not odd, NewbieNet. You know what I mean? I'm just exhausted about the idea of rewinding this date to 2:05 this afternoon. When in fact I think I was asleep then, wasn't I?
You were.
I was.
Yeah,
with our
but it's
little
the
lad. He was a
weekend.
bit under the weather, so we had a snooze together, didn't we?
We did. Okay.
Well, he and I did.
Yeah. So
right. Love the cover, right? Chris Christopherson, bit of a legend, isn't he? And a controversial career, I think it's fair to say. What was your first recollection of Chris? He's only called one Chris, not 3 Chris's, as I just did it.
See,
with Barbara Streisand.
What's that?
I think it was a duet with Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand.
Which one?
I will look it up while you cue this up. Because we haven't even said, for those who are new to this feature, listening for signs.
Yeah, listening for
We're
signs.
looking for artistic integrity, astrological integrity, or artistic license. Have they taken a liberty with astrology writing this?
Yeah. Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, first of all, we've got Joe Summers coming in saying, "A star is born."
That's the one. Yeah, well done.
Oh, well, that's the song you're looking for.
That's the film they were in together. I think. Christopherson.
Streisand.
Yeah, Babs. That's right. And he was one of those great American stars that extended his personal brand franchise into beyond music and into movies.
Yeah.
Handsome fella, look.
Yeah.
And charismatic.
We've got Lulabelle here saying, "Hi, glad to be
Lulabelle,
here."
how are you? Lovely name.
That's a great name. In fact, that's what my mom and dad used to call me when I was
Is
younger.
it?
Yeah, one of the things.
Mm.
And Joe's just saying born rather than burn. But
Born to be alive.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe it was like
because I was born.
It sounds like an accent that's there. And that's all good too.
Yes.
So anyway, Chris Christopherson. Yeah. I wasn't really aware of him. When I heard Chris Christopherson, I was just thinking of Chris Cross.
What? Jump. The band Criss Cross.
No,
Criss Cross will make you jump, jump.
No. Isn't there what's that song? Sailing.
Oh, Christopher Cross.
Oh, Christopher Cross. See,
Yeah,
I'm
you've got your
completely
Christophers and your
Yeah,
crosses
well,
all
I'm a
mixed up.
decade younger than you.
As
Hence,
though that were
that does
an
make
excuse.
a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh, he's looking like James Taylor now. Wow, he's looking proper
So
grey
anyway,
and craggy now.
Chris Christopherson did this song.
87 now.
No way.
Yeah, born in 1936. Can I just cue it up a little bit?
Go on then.
American retired country singer, songwriter, and actor. Among his songwriting credits are Me and Bobby McGee, For the Good Times, Sunday Morning Coming. A lot of his tracks, I think, have an apostrophe instead of a G, as you might expect. Sunday Morning Coming Down and Help Me Make It Through the Night, which is a big hit. Probably his biggest track. Help me make it through the night. I just made that up.
Okay.
But I do remember my parents singing Help Me Make It Through the Night. And I wonder what they were referring to now.
Someone's saying,
Don't
like Daddy
sing.
make you jump.
Exactly. Criss Cross will make you jump, jump. Not that one.
No,
and I don't think they did any astrology tunes, did they? I doubt it very much.
So.
Those are, I mean, I really liked it when we did the floaters. And I imagine there are hip hop and rap artists who have talked about their astrology.
Yeah.
That's an avenue I would love to go down.
Yeah, well, let's find some songs.
But it's not exactly, it's going to be one little rhyming couplet, isn't it? It's not going to be a whole song like this. This is a big deal. Chris Christopherson talking about Jesus.
So let's have a look at. Is it all right to go?
No, it's not yet. Not yet, because that's Chris Christopherson, who is now 87 years of age.
Yeah.
And he's in the Country Music Hall of Fame. In 1976, A Star Is Born was directed by Frank Pearson, which involved Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand. As an unknown singer. They were both well known, but she was the unknown singer in this, and Chris Christopherson is an established rock and roll star who fall in love only to find her career ascending while his goes into decline. Oh, that's a good plot. That's a great plot for a movie. You know Evergreen, though. Your mum must have sung that wistfully around the house.
Don't know.
Evergreen. Evergreen, I think, is the climax of that song. It's all a bit huffy and sighing.
Can we get back to the song? If that's all right.
Go on. So I'm just setting things up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he can't, because the film is a remake of a 1937 Janet Gaynor and Frederick March movie, adapted in 1954 as a musical starring Judy Garland and James Mason.
I don't think our watchers are actually that old.
No, but I mean, this is useful history. Please, our watchers. Do you mean viewers and listeners and audience?
Beautiful listeners.
Please, if I'm being overly pedantic and turning this to a music show again, will you please complain on the screen and I shall stop? I'm just saying it was made in 1937, then again in 1954. Yeah. And guess who was in the 2018 adaptation?
Don't know, because I don't know that people.
You were alive in 2018, for goodness sake. Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Oh. Yeah. Well,
Bradley?
Well, Bradley's a bit cute. He's a bit short, but.
Right, okay. But I'm just saying, it is. I mean, the song Evergreen shows it is a reference really to its evergreen quality as a theme of the male star whose career is in difficulty and the rising female star.
Okay.
A Star Is Born. I'll stop. You carry on. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, Jupiter.
I don't know why I bother.
A Capricorn.
Right.
So is this song a load of old astrology?
Artistic license.
Hogwash.
Yes.
Or is there some, I don't know, some kind of verity to
redeeming astrological value?
So it's saying Jesus was a Capricorn. He ate organic food.
Fish and loaves.
He believed in love and peace, and he never wore shoes. He never wore no shoes.
He never wore no shoes.
He never wore no shoes.
Yeah.
I actually lived with a Capricorn for 11 years.
Who wouldn't have rocked that look particularly, would they?
No, and yeah, he might have gone for organic food. As he got older, he got a bit more sensible.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, Capricorns are a bit on the sensible side, but they're also very rational and also
probably wasting money on organic food, are
exactly. They would much rather spend that money on filling up the tank of their Audi
or shoes.
Or wearing
not
good
wearing
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, one thing I know about Capricorns, or the Capricorns I've had in my life, and there's been quite a few, is that they do like to have really good shoes.
And I know for a fact he didn't have long hair.
And
or a beard.
And actually, did they believe in love and peace? Well, yeah, but actually they believed more in money and security.
Yeah, it's all very well, this love and peace stuff, but we need to make sure the bills are paid.
Yeah, so they get the bills
enough.
paid first before they like attend to love and peace.
Resort to
Now,
that,
obviously, I'm not saying that Capricorns are some kind of stone cold killers or anything like that.
I'm sure you've said that in the past.
No, but you know, like I think it's important to check out somebody's birth chart. But as a horrific kind of stereotype,
Caricature,
caricature of the Capricorn personality, I would say, you know, what's that? Is it the green one?
We'll try it and see what happens.
Yeah. I would say Jesus was a Capricorn. It's their first
we're off to a bad start, aren't we?
Yeah, it's
again.
It's not really full of
why don't you create an astrology course for songwriters?
Oh, that would be good.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So long hair, beard, and sandals, and funky bunch of friends reckon we'd just nail him up.
Yeah.
And that's before it goes into the next part.
The last part of that verse.
Well, again, I would say we're losing viewers here as well.
Not necessarily.
I would say that
was that my fault with my lengthy introduction?
I think it's me slagging off Capricorns.
Oh, right. So the Capricorns have left. Yes.
What I would say is this sounds more like a Sagittarian or sort of Aquarian that's a bit more, you know, long hair, beard, and sandals.
Yeah.
Funky bunch of friends. Like,
yeah.
You know, most of the Capricorns I know have actually got quite conservative friends. They've got like they really understand that the kind of friends they have around them reflect their life.
Right.
So they tend to have really good friends rather than really crappy friends.
You are judged by the company you keep, as my mother and father used to say.
Yeah, and reckon we'd just nail him up. I don't think the Capricorn would advocate for cruelty. So again, I'm
firm but fair is the Capricorn.
Yeah, they're firm but fair, but they're not cruel. So I would say another wah 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 kind of sound.
Reckon we just nail him up if he came down was the bit we're missing there. Yeah.
If he came down again.
Yeah. But I think that's not about Capricorns. That's about that's about society.
Yeah.
That Chris Christopherson is talking about. And this is a country gospel album.
Yeah.
And he wrote a song to Jesus, really, called "Why Me," that Elvis Presley covered, and Frank Sinatra has also covered Chris Christopherson kind of gospel country tunes as well.
Very good.
These are spiritual songs.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, but with so far not much astrological continuity. Okay, so here's the old chorus, and it's because everybody's got to have somebody to look down on. Here's where it starts to sound a bit more like Capricorn. No offense.
Yeah, but he's not attacking Capricorns at this point.
No,
he's talking about society and what we're like as people, I think.
Yeah, but the funny thing is about the sort of Capricorn mindset, like, you know, if you think of the old mountain goat that's climbing up a mountain, you know, they do like our little kittens.
Yeah.
They're little, but they're superior. No, I'm
Right.
not saying they're Capricorn, but like they're superior, like a Capricorn.
Yeah.
Like they try and get up as high as they can.
Yes.
So they can kind of look down on your, I don't know, on our vulnerabilities.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
see where they can
when I'm
claw
barefoot
us.
and vulnerable, yes, they're going straight for the bite on the foot.
Exactly.
Which some say is affection and a sign of bonding,
No,
which is completely wasted.
That's just them being kittens.
Yeah.
So because everybody's going to have somebody to look down on, so I'd say that has some merit from the whole, you know, Capricorn thing. Prove they can be that better than at any time they choose. Again, from what I know about the sort of whole sort of Capricorn ethos, it's not that they want to prove that they're better. However, they do actually seem to be quite good at achieving things. I've got some very proficient Capricorn friends, and they've got there because they have practiced, because they've been really quite remarkable. They have not frittered their time or their money away. You know, they've used all their resources in a really great way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're quite accomplished.
Okay.
So I would agree with that.
Yeah. That's Ruthie Coolidge, by the way, on the cover with him.
Okay.
At the time, 1972, that cover.
So
and she was soon to be his wife.
God, I thought that was a guy.
No, that's Rita Coolidge, who you might have heard of, a country singer.
No, not at all.
Really?
Sorry.
We'll have to have a little bit of country and western session after this and listen to these.
If we have to.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone doing something dirty, decent, folks can frown on.
Someone doing something dirty, decent folks can frown on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The importance of a comma, eh?
Yeah.
So someone doing something dirty,
Yes.
decent folks can frown on. Again, I mean, that is a bit sort of Capricorns, they're ruled by Saturn, known for judgment.
Hmm.
Though that said, I have to say, I think Capricorns are so in their own space of achieving that they're actually a lot less judgmental than other signs that I've come across.
Hmm.
Anyway, if you can't find nobody else, then help yourself to me. That seems less Capricorn.
That's
to
what
me.
sounds a bit like love the one you're with.
Yeah,
To me.
yeah. That's sort of a less Capricorn sentiment, I would say.
Mhm.
So into the end then, let's see if there's some comments coming in. Do you want to read out this last comment?
The Capricorns in my life, says Karen, are pretty bossy. Yeah, they have a tendency to do too much for others. Still bossy. And
That's
what's
very
this?
good.
Queen and Convict.
Yeah.
Mr. Mr. Grand. The zodiac signs. Oh, okay. Thank you. If the
Mr.
zodiac
Grand.
signs, okay. Yeah, I didn't.
If
I
the
don't know
zodiac
that.
signs had a rap
I'm writing
battle.
that down. Yeah. Or could
Okay,
you write that down,
I'm
please?
gonna write
That's
my
great. Queen and
secretary
Convict.
now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, I'm not ordering you to write it down. I just don't have the necessary here, and it's your show where we're talking about astrology and songs. That's a great tip from Queen and Convict.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
If the zodiac
Which is a great
signs
name.
it is a fantastic one.
I'm not familiar with Queen and Convict.
No, I'm not
okay,
either.
Hello, good evening to
Where
you.
have you come from?
Muito prazer. Enchanté.
Mr. Grand. I mean, you were also saying you wanted a bit of R&B or rap, weren't you?
I want some music I like. I mean, I think I do like Chris Christopherson more than I realised, having gone through this process tonight, which we're only halfway through, I suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's saying,
Your Driveway.
Can you recognise who it is now?
I'm scared. You see, if I didn't realise who they were and they said Your Driveway,
that would be a bit freaky.
it would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Queen and
now
Convict.
Your Window. Okay, get it. Yes, very good. Very good. YouTube channel. Yes, like it.
Yeah,
like
I didn't know that was your YouTube channel. Very good.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength and same musical taste in many ways. Yes. Okay.
Okay. May I just say,
indeed.
Queen and Convict. This is who. These are the lovely people who I was just looking at the charts of. These are the people who are having.
It's the Queen and Convict show, then.
These are the people who are having their anniversary, their 7th anniversary today.
In our driveway.
Did you? Yes. Yeah. Happy anniversary.
Which is a service of this app, Park in My Drive. We've got a slightly different niche one called Celebrate Your Anniversary in our drive. Sadly, tonight we're fully booked.
Yeah. So if you want to park your camper van on our driveway
and
celebrate your anniversary in a very
and tune into any of our shows and comment, you're very welcome. Yeah. It's only $5 a night. Except for Queen and Convict, who are our inaugural guests.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe you'll write us a nice
tested
review.
It. Yeah, they've tested it. And I think they like the facilities. It's fair. Would you like to give us a quick review of Celebrate Your Anniversary in our driveway.com, please? Tonight. Careful.
That's so good. Right. Okay, anyway. Last bit then. Eggheads fussing, rednecks cussing, hippies for their hair. Others laugh at straights who laugh at freaks who laugh at squares.
That's great writing.
It's fantastic
very good.
writing.
And that's just not very different to what's going on now, frankly, is it? Same old, you might say.
Eggheads fussing, rednecks cussing, hippies for their hair. Others laugh at straights who laugh at freaks who laugh at squares. Well, that's just like everyone judging everyone.
It is.
Actually, that's a
horrible circle of life.
That is also a bit of a Capricorn judgment. Like they are actually
I've
laughing.
got to give you, when you finish, I've got to give you a very different analysis of this.
Go on.
Carry on. No, because I need to hear your whole proposition.
Well, what I like about that is this is just life. This is the way it is. Like there are like brainy people fussing, rednecks, like cheapskates or whatever you want to call them, like cussing, and they're cussing people because of their hair. There are others who are laughing at straight people, like, look at those normies over there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
People like, oh my God, look at those conspiracy theorists over there.
The names have been changed to protect the guilty on this occasion. Yeah.
But everyone's at it. It's a game that everyone's playing.
Yes, that's right.
And if Jesus was a Capricorn, he'd be sat there, or he would be he would be
hanging
there.
yeah,
I
basically.
didn't want to say hanging there, but
Yeah, suspended.
he would be suspended there, looking down and going, "Christ on a bike." No, he wouldn't be saying
No,
that.
he
would
would not be saying that.
Sorry, he would be saying.
If I can give you a little bit of religious
Yes,
context,
thank you.
what he might be saying is as a matter
Go
of
on.
not of record necessarily, but of repetition throughout the ages is, Lord, forgive them, for they know not
Yes.
what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Okay.
you're looking
So
for.
yeah, that is exactly what I was
Yeah,
looking for,
yeah.
and not to create
And do you
offense.
now is
That's
that a
cool.
Capricorn view of life? Oh, forgive them, they know not what they do.
I think so, because as from what I know of Capricorns, is
Yes.
they get just really tired of life
And other people's incompetence.
Yeah, they really get tired of other people's incompetence,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they get really kind of slightly a bit snarky.
Yeah.
But they're just a bit kind of tired of it all.
Yeah.
They're a bit above it.
And because they're so capable.
They
and
sure
bossy.
are. Yeah, and they are definitely bossy.
Yeah.
We've got you've got 2 Capricorn daughters,
And they do like to tell me what to do from time
they
to time.
really do. They are your
Yeah.
bossiest
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, some folks hate the whites, who hate the blacks, who hate the clan. Most of us hate anything that we don't understand.
Now there you go.
That's actually really smart.
This is why the guy is such a renowned writer, and this is 1972, and it's like the sad thing about this is like what has changed, quite honestly. But carry on, and you tell me whether you think.
Well, that's it.
Right. Okay. Well, you see, the way I see this is that he says Jesus is a Capricorn, was a Capricorn, is a Jesus-loving person trying to make sense of life with a slightly critical view of humanity, which you might have as a country and western writer. And perhaps you'd have a love-hate relationship with humanity, seeing the dark. And there are dark themes on this album. That is that's the album title of the album, as well as the track here, Jesus Was a Capricorn. And I think he's sort of taking Jesus's side. And the verses are about humanity and people, and how Jesus. There is no direct reference, as far as I can tell, as to why he is saying Jesus was a Capricorn, apart from the fact that because he was born on the 25th of December.
We've all been told he was born on the 25th of December.
Yeah. Well, can we go for that for the purposes of this album, and why Chris Christopherson might be saying that?
Yeah.
And then perhaps looking at life through the eyes of Jesus, trying to understand people.
Because he was a Capricorn.
Well, I think this is artistic license. I think it's quite a loose reference, and I don't think there's a lot of hard work to make Jesus. For Chris Christopherson to be saying, see, that confirms he was a Capricorn all along. Yeah. I really don't think it's in any way deep. And on Wikipedia, when I'm researching this, which is as deep as my research goes, generally speaking. There is, if you search for astrology in the description of this album, there is no reference to astrology apart from the word Capricorn.
Okay,
that's it. Yeah.
Right.
So I think it is Chris Christopherson wanting to be like Jesus, seeing the world and people through Jesus's eyes, and in typical country and western, and often in a lot of music, that in that way, walking away going, humanity, what are you like? And he's quite right to do so, as it turns out. He didn't know, did he? We'd be looking at this, how many years later?
52 years later. 50 years later.
Over 50 years later.
Yeah.
And with those same themes resounding around the world of people not understanding each other, and this idea of everyone needs someone to look down on. What have we learned from Jesus' teachings? Well, in that case, not a lot. I rest my case.
You know what? I would have to agree. I think there are some great references to the sort of like Capricorn energy and the Capricorn ways of being. I know that there's loads of astrologers out there and archaeologists and religious people who believe that Jesus came, I think, in September. But,
oh, really?
Yeah. People that have looked at Halley's Comet and thought that maybe that was what was being tracked. And then there's loads of people that say Jesus is just a story, and a valuable story, and doesn't have a birth date. So there's loads of, different ideas around that.
Did you see the meme I sent you?
Nope.
From Ryan on Twitter, possibly. When people say that Jesus was actually born on Christmas Day, I have to laugh, because there's no way a Capricorn is sacrificing themselves for all of humankind's sin.
Say that again.
When people say that Jesus was actually born on Christmas Day, I have to laugh, because there's no way a Capricorn is sacrificing themselves for all of humankind's sin.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Okay, mic drop.
Yeah, drop
Case
the mic.
closed.
Yeah,
Right,
so there
okay.
you go. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was an interesting song to explore, and I think we will have a look at Mr. Grand if the zodiac signs had a rap battle.
Yes, I like
So
the sound of
thank you
that.
very much, Queen and Convict. I love your name though; it's very good. And yeah, so that kind of wraps up this week's show.
Wraps up. I see what you did
Oh
there.
yeah, I didn't do it deliberately. If you would like to join us another time, I like that. Joe Summers is saying maybe Jesus's moon was in Pisces.
Well, that was going to be a question I would ask you. You know, how would you, as Jesus is reported and recorded, where would you put Jesus astrologically? And I would say Piscean.
I would put his moon in Pisces, definitely.
Right.
You know, because the moon in Pisces is slightly suicidal. Sorry, I'm not trying to talk you into it. I've got moon in Pisces myself. You know, like we do kind of almost
a death wish, if you like.
Yes, almost like this unspoken death wish crossed with a slight thinking of what the hell am I doing here again?
Right. Okay.
And like the sign of Pisces is known as being one of the ending of the pattern. You know, it's about the overall consciousness. It's less identified, less personal. It's kind of non-personal.
Yeah.
So it's non-personal feeling. So,
but isn't Jesus the epitome, the embodiment of the age of Pisces as well? I mean, the Piscean archetype.
I guess
The fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian fish.
Yes. Good point.
I've been very Episcopal tonight, aren't I?
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
So, yes, I look forward to you coming back on the show next week.
Not. But don't be so Episcopal next time.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found the reading and the Venus thing, looking at Queen and Convict's relationship development and this, that, and the other. But anyway, if there's anything you'd like us to check out in another show, then please do just give us a shout. And again, we'll be back here this time next week with a little bit of astrological mischief and mayhem.
Yeah, maybe look at the band called Zodiac.
Oh yeah, we'll have a look at some of that as well.
Yeah, I'm just searching Zodiac on Spotify, and quite a lot comes up.
Excellent. Well, we've got a final comment from Joe Summers with her beautiful hair. Great fun tonight. Thank you. Much love. It's really nice to be in touch with you again, Joe. So,
Leo,
love that. And also Karen Hollins, who we also know as Nubianette. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. From California. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, because you do also have more of a weekend.
You do, don't you? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let's head off and have a little drink with our beautiful guests on our driveway.
And don't forget, celebrate your anniversary in our driveway.com.
Yes. All right. Bye for now.